The biggest trap in our education system is to make a person believe that job is everything. Finance is not just about money. I traded, I lost money, and again I learned, again I gained. So, there was a journey in between during COVID where I fell in love with finance even more than I used to before. If you're not earning money, how will you know the value of money? That you can get 1 crore of insurance by just paying around 700 rupees every month. That's how much a Netflix subscription used to cost. Then once I got into corporate, I understood the problems that people face. Going to FD and you're thinking this is for retirement? No. Term insurance is not to insure yourself, it's to insure your family. I'm earning money today to buy time tomorrow. That is my only logic. I mean, it's exclusively normally for my tax masterclass people.
Yellogu Namaskara. Welcome to Real Celebrity Podcast, powered by C. Krishna Achetty Group of Jewelers. These are stories of extraordinary women. And today we have someone who's super special and an expert finance content creator with us. We have Chandralekha. Hi Chandralekha, how are you?
Hello, hi Spurti. I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. And how are you doing today?
Amazing. The power is nice today because I haven't had a podcast since a while. So it's nice to express myself, my views.
Absolutely.
Glad to
Today
be
we're
here.
going to be talking a lot about money.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all in.
Fantastic. So, out of everything, out of all the profession, yes, you
Yeah.
have a very strong financial background, yes.
Right.
Why and what made you choose to become a finance content creator?
Yeah. So I have always been a number girl since my childhood. That has been there. I never used to hate math. I used to love it. And then with that interest only, I thought, okay, I'm a management student. I got into bachelor's in business administration, Christ.
Okay.
And there I developed an interest in finance. Even though I was into other creative activities, but developing interest in finance came from the subjects that interested me. Okay. And as I loved numbers, I got into it. But if you ask me, finance is not just about money. Okay. I mean, today I talk more about personal finance, but when I learnt in college, it was about corporate finance, business finance, these kinds of things, which has no relation to what I'm doing there. But definitely, the basics matter, so I understand it well. And I would say that is the reason, because I love numbers. That's it, nothing else.
Okay. So, you love numbers and content creation. Where did this content creation journey begin?
Oh, yeah.
From being someone who's into complete numbers, and you're a ex-KPMG, one of the
Yes.
big four accounting firms.
Right.
And from there to becoming a content creation, a public figure.
Yeah, that was completely unplanned. For sure, it was unplanned. In fact, I was not even using Instagram that well at that point. Okay, I used to not know how to share stories. I used to not know how
When
to
was
even
this?
save. This was in 2018-19.
Okay,
I
okay.
was really bad at Instagram, and it was completely unplanned. So what happened was, after I completed Christ, even though I got into placements, I did not want to start my corporate career because I thought I was not professionally skilled enough. So that's when I tried to develop that. I completed my certified management accounting, internal auditor, and then it was COVID. So that 1 year break got me into multiple things. I became a trader in between. I traded, I lost money, and again I learned, again I gained. So, there was a journey in between during COVID where I fell in love with finance even more than I used to before. So, that 1 year gap got me introduced to the markets, got me introduced to a lot of things. And then I thought, okay, now I've learned something in, stock markets and all. Let me start educating people. Because I was always a very good teacher. I used to teach all my friends. In my college days, my notebook used to be the one notebook in the copy machines, because I used to take a lot of notes and all. I used to be a nerd that time. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's when I developed interest in finance, and I thought I'll start YouTube, and I did also. By then, I completed my certifications and directly got into KPMG just after COVID.
Okay.
Now, I can't pursue something long form while being at KPMG. That's simply not possible. So I thought, okay, the content in this part is not possible. And a couple of my friends suggested, dude, like short form is booming and all that. I had no idea what short form even was, you know.
Right.
And when I started content creation, my friends sent me videos of some people, I would say Anushka Rathod and other few folks in the domain. And today she's my friend as well. So I entered by looking at those videos. I thought, okay, even I could do something. But initially, I wasn't doing on personal finance. I'll be honest. I didn't know what the market wanted. Because I was a noob that time. I had no idea what I was doing. Then once I got into corporate, I understood the problems that people face once they become, enter the corporate world. That's when I thought, okay, personal finance is my segment and started. And things are history from there.
That gives a clear answer that content creation is understanding what people really want. You may be good at anything, you may know the knowledge of the entire world, but content creation can work only when you know the pulse of your audience when you know what people really want.
100%. You're absolutely, you nailed it. Because if you ask me, am I the best at what I do? No, there are much better people, but not everybody want to explore the field, right? Not everybody is interested in getting into content, being in front of the camera. But to be honest, people should love it to do. If you ask me, I love it. I love being on the camera. I just love talking to people. All of this I love. So maybe that's that's one of the reason why I'm still in the content creation game.
So you're enjoying this process.
Yeah.
Enjoy
100%. 100%.
Fantastic. Now, that also brings me to another question. What do people really want to know about finance?
Yeah. So if you ask me, the answers are different on different platforms, I would suggest. Because the kind of audience who are on, let's say, a short form platform, let's say Instagram, they don't have much time. They come there for entertainment. But in that zone, if you're able to give that value, right? If you give them a small hack or something that is important, which they can implement immediately in their life, they love it. But let's say I do the same thing on a long form. That is when I have 10 minutes of time and I'm going to do that, they won't like it. They would rather need a deep process understanding. So it depends on the platform. If I go to LinkedIn, I can't do what I'm doing on Instagram on LinkedIn. So I need to write elaborative posts. I need to give examples. I need to create a structure over there because people over there are looking at different things. So it's different for different platforms, at least in the education field. But overall, I would say at the end of the day, if you're solving a problem, I feel people would love it. That is the end thing.
What's the problem that India is facing and Indians are facing when it comes to finance?
It's basically financial literacy. If you just see the stats, only 3.2% of people invest in the stock market. Even though we keep seeing the news of stock market every single day, people don't know what it is till now. And as I told, only 3.2% of Indians are invested there. So it's a huge market. When you compare it to the US, it's way lower. So I feel the biggest problem is financial literacy because people are not taught in college and schools about money. And if you ask me, I wouldn't say people should be completely taught about these things, but at least in college they should be given. In school might not be, because if you're not earning money, how will you know the value of money? Okay, so that's the biggest problem over there, and that problem starts when now kids are very fast, so they start earning in college only, and it's really good if something can be done in the college syllabus.
Right, makes sense. So financial literacy is one of the major problems, and that needs to be addressed in colleges itself. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Right. When you think of types of finances, there's personal finance, there's organizational finance, business finance, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now, keeping aside those two things, you are someone who speaks and becomes an advocate for salaried individuals, and that's your core expertise. And I'm damn sure to become a content creator, a lot of people say that, okay, you come in front of camera, you do reels, what's so big deal about it? But I feel it takes a lot of hard work, efforts, and good amount of research, and you need to get educated. If your reels are working really well, it means that you're putting in a lot of efforts.
Yes.
And that's adding a lot of value. And I'm damn sure you're someone who becomes credible to give that insight.
Right.
So when we look at it, and if we focus more on your subject and that's your expertise, finance for salaried individuals.
Yeah.
What are the major problems this sector is currently facing?
A major problem is the tax, okay, because I feel the salaried class is burdened with the tax paying scenario, because what happens here is that companies are in the organized sector, right? So the government has told the companies to collect taxes, because I mean, at the end of the day, the government doesn't collect a direct tax, right? It's the companies that are collecting it from the salaried class. So there is no way a salaried person can escape. So what happens is the burden completely falls on the salaried class. But if you take the business class, if you take anybody, whoever is not earning a salary, it's not like that. They are supposed to individually report their incomes. Even though there are audits and a lot of things, they are supposed to individually report it. And when it comes to salary class, they pay in advance. So what happens is they feel that tax is a biggest burden, and what happens is the moment a person gets CTC, right, in their hands, they get into a job, they get CTC, they see the figure divided by 12 and think, okay, this is what I'm going to get. But the first month, right, when that pay hits the bank account, that's when they get to know that, okay, this is not the actual amount I'll be getting. There are a lot more things that are getting cut, and I feel that is where people don't understand what is that exactly being cut. Why am I getting less than what I'm being offered?
So are you saying that a lot of people don't even know how to read the salary slip?
Yes. Initially, they wouldn't be knowing because I have seen it and I have faced it long back as well. There's a lot to figure out there.
So how can a salaried person read their salary slip?
So it is very simple, if you ask me. There are some things that falls in your bank account and some things that don't. So when you look at your salary slip, right, the first thing that you see is your basic salary. Okay, that is the salary where you cannot save anything, right? Even the government gives you a lot of options to save on, you don't save anything there. And at the same time, that hits your bank account completely. And then comes your variable pay, and this is where your bonuses come in and other types of things come in. Okay, for example, allowances, right? So allowances is company given budgets to an employee to spend on a specific purpose. Okay, and all of these things are put in CTC. Now, when a person has to understand it, they have to understand it in taxability perspective. Now, as I said, like for example, basic salary is 100% taxable, right? And when you come to allowances, which the company has given a person to spend, they don't have, I mean, it is partially taxable. Not everything can be claimed, right? So the reason why your salary has been broken up into different components is because of the way government taxes it. It's not just because companies want to bisect it into different levels, right? And after that, you have the benefits that the company give you, like health insurance, right? They pay for your medical insurance and they give you insurance. It's not an individual policy, it's a group policy that the company takes for the entire organization, but that's still a protection that you get. And then you have your gratuity, then you have your PF that gets cut and falls. Again, many people think, oh, PF is getting cut, but it's actually a savings mechanism the government has given, and it falls not in your bank account, but in your account itself, but in the PF account with the government. So that is there. And at the end is when your tax is cut based on all these things, right? Based on the tax slabs. So basic understanding would be to know which component of your salary is fully taxable, which component is partially taxable, which component is not taxable at all.
Okay.
So
if
that
someone is not on
difference.
Instagram and not following, you, Chandralekha, how is that they can understand more about these things?
I mean, like without going to my page. I mean, right now you have to go to my page. I would say you can, go to Finance Wizard CL, search for it and get onto
Finance Wizard CL?
Okay, that has a big history.
Okay.
I've changed the name of the page 3 times,
okay.
Honestly. So when I started it, I named it as Fintoshia. I have no idea why I named it that way. As I told, I started like way before and I had no idea what would work, what wouldn't. And then I went to Finance Wiz CL. So basically my idea was I wanted my name to come in and I wanted the word finance also to come in. Because if you remember, when Instagram had started, if a person has to follow you, they will just check your name. There is very less probability that they'll click on your name, go to your profile, see your bio and follow you. Because the follow button is right there, correct? So I wanted it to be clear that I talk only about finance, don't follow me for entertainment. That is what I wanted to tell people over there, right? So that's why I thought finance should be there. Now, how do I put CL there? Okay, people have used a lot of other names in between, so I wanted to be different. So I used the word wizard in between. CL is Chandralekha. I can't use my entire name; it's too long. So I had to make it short. That's it.
Okay.
And
okay.
that's been.
And
there.
why wizard?
I mean, wizard is somebody who is good with something, extremely expert in something.
So you finance wizard Chandralekha.
Exactly.
Okay, lovely,
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
So we were just speaking about salaried individuals.
Right.
And this is the class and this is the community
Right.
which is today in a trap of EMI.
Oh yeah.
Trap of
yes.
EMI and the salaries are as equivalent as EMIs and their expenses have shot up beyond their income.
Correct.
There's no savings. They don't
Right.
know how much money is going into what.
Yes.
A lot of majority of people don't even know what is their income. I mean, in fact, a lot of people don't even know what exactly income they
Yes.
have. And what is their savings? Savings so is like last priority.
Right.
What is their investment? That again becomes a last
Yeah,
but one
last.
priority.
Very
And then
true.
their expense. And in that expense, they don't know where the money is going.
True.
At the end of the day, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಖರ್ಚಾಯ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
Correct.
So this is what we hear,
Yeah.
and this is a very generic problem when it comes to salaried class.
True, true.
So, as a finance expert,
Yeah.
somebody who is starting out, what is your message to them
Yeah.
on how that they shouldn't be getting into this trap?
Yes. So I feel the biggest trap in our education system is to make a person believe that job is everything. Okay, I feel that's the biggest trap. So because most of the people enter colleges, enter schools, enter colleges and bigger institutions, right? Higher education institution with the hope that they'll get better placements. Right, and having a single source of income will never be sufficient for anyone, if you ask me, right? So if a person is just in the start of their career, what I would suggest them is to first build alternative sources of income, right? I mean, I would again come to that, how to build and everything, how to identify it, but I feel the first is to increase your income, and automatically when your income increases, you'll get more money to save. Okay. Now, if you ask me, look, there is a person who is earning, let's say, X amount of money and they have basic expenses. If your earnings and basic expenses are same, then definitely something is wrong, and you should give all your way in to build that extra source of income. And that's very important, or at least build your skill set to increase your own income, right? And I would suggest everybody, whoever is in their earning capacity or whoever is in the salaried segment, right, to aim to first increase your salary at least by 15% every single year. How are you going to do it? There'll be different ways to do it, but I would suggest to do that because
If you can give me one example, you're saying that it's minimum 15% is
Right.
good.
Right.
How can someone do this?
Yes. So what happens is there are two ways that you can do it. So companies have a range of pay that they give. It's called a bonus, and that bonus depends on performance. Maximum you can do is try your best, but I don't think that will be possible every time. So what you can do is, if there is a skill that can put you in the next position of the job, right? If there is a way you can get to the next position quick as possible, that will directly give you a 30% hike or a 40% hike. That means it compensates that 50%, 15% I told for the next 2 years, right? Now that is one way. And the next way is to switch jobs. If you feel that you're being underpaid, then build up whatever skill in your industry would get you that leverage to jump into a better job. Build that, and then it becomes easier. So these are the ways. I wouldn't say 15% is a constant. Some year it can even be 50% because you move to a different job, or it can even be 100%. But overall, on an average, you have to target that as the intention. Yeah.
Right. So we were just speaking about EMIs. And especially salaried ಇರೋರಿಗೆ ಈಗ it becomes more like ಏನಂತಾರೆ EMIs are so ಏನಂತಾರೆ attractive.
Yes.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ car EMI, phone EMIs, everything has become very accessible and with very less documentation. This is also one of the reasons why the loans are becoming more and people are getting into the EMIs and all of that. So how do you define and segregate good debt and bad debts?
100%. So I'll give two scenarios here for understanding good debt and necessary debt and a bad debt. Okay. So first thing is, if you ask me, okay, if you're in a good position, right, in your life, if you're financially settled, or even if you are having a good amount of savings and money for your day-to-day needs, then you shouldn't be taking a loan for something that doesn't build you wealth, right? Businessmen take loan because that builds them wealth. They're creating assets that's going to make them money. Now, if you're going to take a loan for an asset that's not going to make you money, then that's a bad loan. But if you're taking a loan for an asset that will help you make more money, then definitely it's a good loan. Okay. Now, in some cases, if you're taking a loan as an investment into your business, that is also a good thing. Or let's say, for example, content itself, right? Many people take loans to buy different kinds of equipments as well. But that is again an investment. So that is how you identify a good loan. Now, coming to bad loan, anything other than that is going to be a bad loan. For example, you taking loans to buy gadgets, right? Or to fulfill short-term deeds. Short-term deeds, like it can be anything. Then that kind of makes you habituated towards accessibility, and you'll not even realize when you're in a trap because you'll be living paycheck to paycheck. That becomes a problem. Now, between these two things in Indian scenario comes the home loan. Okay. Now, if you're going to ask me, is that a good debt or bad debt? I'll be very honest, it depends on psychological needs. It also depends on the way the society puts house as, okay? So owning a house in India is a prestigious thing and people love to do it, right? And when they're so much emotionally driven, you cannot, no matter how much mathematical equations you're going to put on it, people would still do it. So in that case, it's a debt that you need to clear as soon as possible. It's okay if you're going to take a home loan, take it. But try to take it when you have consistent income and try to close it as soon as possible. I would suggest not more than 15 years. But if that goes to 30 years and like that, and that means your life is dependent on an EMI. So 30 years is a huge span to be.
Why are most of the finance content creators against a home loan?
I'm not, I told you. So many content creators are against home loan. There are. Why, if you ask, the biggest reason is people feel the rental yield, right, is not great in India. Okay, so if you're going to take a home loan, right, and that is one thing. If you're going to take a home loan to, let's say, let out the property, then the rental yield is very low. Now, second is if you're going to take a home loan to live in the property, why they feel is not financially good is because at the end of the day, it's even though you're taking it like an asset, you're still not going to sell it any single day. And you're going to lock up huge chunk of money in an illiquid asset. Okay. Now, liquidity comes into play when you have emergency or when you need funds, right? You can't go sell a house in a day, right? But if you have accessibility to the stock market or mutual funds or anywhere, you can sell it and get your money back. So liquidity is the biggest reason. But as I told, I'm not against taking a home loan and I'm not even against building your own house. But you should understand when you're financially fit to build it. Right?
Makes sense.
Even if you're taking a loan, I told you when to take a loan, how to take a loan. And even if you're not taking a loan and doing a one-time investment and getting, even at that time, you should think about, do you have enough liquid wealth before you try to lock up some wealth?
How much liquidity is good liquidity?
I feel there's no such percentage because it depends on basic necessities. Now, if you ask a person who is earning 1 crore what is liquidity to him, it will be a different answer. For a person earning 10 lakh will be a different answer. Because for a person earning, let's say 1 crore, 10 crore, the necessity might still be maybe 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. So for them, rest is liquidity. But for a person who is earning 10 lakh, they will still be trying to meet their ends, right? Yeah. So that time you can't define liquidity for them. But if you ask me, if you're able to save 30% in a month, then I feel you're in a good state. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about travel loan?
Okay.
Someone taking loan for traveling.
Now I'm answering to a wrong person.
No, you can feel free to answer that.
Yeah. I already told which category taking a loan for short-term deeds comes to. But see, if a person is really taking a travel loan to travel, then they should just give it one thought, right? Like, are they taking because they're not comfortable putting upfront money, or are they taking because they don't have money? Okay, that is the difference. Now, if you're taking when you're in that situation, why do you want to even travel. Like, I mean, what is your thing? Like,
ಬಟ್
let's say a
ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ ಕಡೆ
person.
ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಚಂದ್ರಲೇಖ, ಲೈಕ್
Yeah.
ನನ್ಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ಕಷ್ಟ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ,
Right.
ಐ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್, ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್.
Yeah.
ಆ ತರ ಇರೋ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ?
Once or twice is good. Repetitive is
ಸೊ
bad.
ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೈಲ್ ಆರ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಅನ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಫ್ ಯು ಫುಲ್ಫಿಲ್ ದಟ್ ಡಿಸೈರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಪ್.
Exactly. You should not get addicted to doing that.
Because EMIs are very attractive.
Exactly. EMIs are very attractive. You'll get loans and you won't feel it because it goes every month, right? If something goes at one time, you'll feel it. If it's going out every month, you won't feel it. But I feel once or twice is fine. But if you're going to get habituated to it, then you have to set things right. That's it.
Okay. So let's say that there is a fresher
Yeah.
just passing out of the college.
Yeah.
He gets a salary, let's say 5 lakh rupees.
Okay.
Okay. That's the basic salary. Right. So 5 lakh CTC there.
Yeah.
And he goes out, he starts earning, he
Yeah.
takes his first salary.
Yeah.
If you are given that money, how would you, bifurcate that money?
Right. Now, again, there can be two situations. One is you're living with your parents. Then you don't have expenses. Food is taken care of. Rent is taken care of. Majority of essentials are taken care of. If you take that scenario, then definitely you have a lot of amount to spend on yourself. And if you ask me at that age, when you have just started earning, I would put most of my money into building myself. Okay, like if
Skills investment.
yes, skills.
On your skills.
Investing on your skills, whatever sector you are in. It can be different for me, it can be different for somebody in the field of engineering or somebody in the field of medicine. Everybody will have a different way to invest on their skills. Since you don't have other burdens, you can invest here. Now, if you ask me, should I be investing? Yes, you should be investing to make money as well. However, building your skills in the early age and putting that money and also taking care of essentials is important. After that, whatever surplus you get, I would definitely try to invest it somewhere. Okay, provided that surplus is still there after I've met these needs. Okay.
Which would be your first investment in that case? The surplus money.
The surplus money, I would definitely put it 100% in mutual funds, which is blue chip stocks or large cap companies, because that makes sense. Either ways, my essentials are taken care of. I am also not in a state where somebody is dependent on me. So I'll go all in and invest good money in the markets. But let's say you are in the age where you're trying to settle in your life, maybe not in your 22s or 23s, maybe you're in 25s, 26, 27s. In that case, you have to bifurcate, you have to diversify. You can't go all in into something that's very risky. So that time I would suggest to put around 30% in your debt and another 70% in equities. But I'll be very honest, this depends on the goals that person has.
So the first thing that any individual has to do when it comes to finance, personal finance,
Yeah.
is identifying their own goal.
Correct.
For me, I may not have the aspiration to build a house.
Yeah.
Maybe the aspiration is something else. I
Exactly.
may be wanting to start a business after 5 years and I need a good corpus for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So depending on that,
Correct.
ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, how do
Yeah.
they really find right person to discuss this, get the guidance? Like I want to do something. I'm not very clear about how to go about, but I just have a vague idea about my financial goals.
Right.
So where is that, at that point of a time, whom do I really get in touch with?
So if you ask me, if you are a person who is having surplus of less than 50 lakh rupees to invest in a year, then there's no advisor as such you can get, because what happens is when you have amount of more than 50 lakhs to invest, you get something called as PMS, Portfolio Management Services. There are a lot of companies providing these services. They charge upfront fees, or they charge some fees based on the profits that you get or on the profits that you get, and you can invest through them. They will take care of everything. They'll understand your goals. Now, majority of the population will come in who have surplus less than 50 lakh rupees to invest. I'm not saying wealth. They have 50 lakh rupees to invest. Now, these people, I feel most of the education will come through self-education. I don't think you have to go find that person who's going to
And
educate.
content creators are doing a great job in that.
Yeah. Like I can right now itself in 5 minutes, like tell you based on the duration of the goal where to invest in. Okay. I'll give example also. Okay. Let's say you have a goal. spanning from 1 year to 15 years. Okay. Now, in 1 year, let's say you want to travel. Okay. In 3 years, let's say you have a education, master's requirement, which you're saving for. That is your 3-year goal. Now, what can be your 5-year goal? Maybe your marriage or something else, which can be your 5-year goal. Now, your 10-year goal can be your kids. You feel you'll have kids at that point. That can be your 10-year goal. And anything above 50 would mostly come into the retirement zone. Okay. Now, based on this years, right? Based on this time span, if any goal is in 1 year or less, the best and the only way is to invest in FDs, no matter how bad it is, because it's a stable instrument, right? Anything that can give you stable source of income is best if you're taking 1 year, less than 1 year goal. Never put that in equities because you never know how markets will perform. In 1 year, let's say that drops, you will lose your own investment as well for that 1 year goal to meet. Anything between 1 to 3 years, I would suggest you get into debt mutual funds. There is arbitrage funds, there are medium term funds, right? These are the things. Mutual funds are the best for beginners. I would not tell anybody to invest in this company. I feel this is mostly applicable for everybody in general. Now, next comes your 3 to 5 year goal. This is where you can start putting your money in balanced funds. So these funds invest in debt and equity both. So you get a balanced returns. You will not get the aggressiveness of an equity fund nor the the lower side of a debt fund. You will get it in between. So 3 to 5 year goal. Anything above 5 years, please go all in on equity mutual funds because that gives enough years to make returns.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Chandralika, if I have to ask you, RD, recurring deposit versus SIP.
I feel we can't interconnect it because you need both. You need a FD or a recurring deposit and you need a SIP as well. Because your SIP, you need to look into that for retirement. FD and RD is for a safety cushion. Okay, for stability. Now, as I told, if let's say your goal is like that far away, don't put in RD. Put it, everything, do an SIP into any fund, a good fund. You'll be able to make good returns. Decent amount of 12 to 15% is really good. But going to FD and you're thinking this is for retirement? No. So as I told, for short-term goals, you can go with
Completely
FDs.
depends on goal.
Yes, goal and the time period.
So first create financial goals.
Yeah.
Like when you want to do what and how much you want to
Correct.
spend, what you really deserve and what you really desire. So this
100%.
mapping is really, really important.
Important.
And maybe you don't really need to sit with someone. You just have to sit with yourself, jot
Exactly.
things down,
Jot things
understand.
down.
And probably
Correct.
you can consult an expert to
Yeah.
understand more about it.
Right.
And today financial advisors are there, but don't go with anybody and everybody,
anybody
because
and
most of the times, there are financial advisors
Correct.
who are already earning through a commission and things like that, and they tend to suggest the similar ones.
I would suggest take knowledge and try to invest. There are already a lot of platforms which are promoting, like ET Money is there. They're already doing goal-based planning for masses, okay, wherein you don't have an expert as such, but you'll get. And there's also Scriptbox, and I mean, like, there are a lot of companies in this domain that are coming with goal-based investment plannings. Okay, they have their own plans based on goals. You can even invest there. Because as I told, if you have less than 50 lakh rupees to invest, right, there are a lot of companies you can choose from. But if you only have knowledge, then don't go with any of these platforms. You can directly go with the brokers, whoever that is, and invest as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And you also talk a lot about taxes.
Right.
And for someone like me, who is not an expert in this domain,
Right.
always start cribbing like, why am I paying so much tax? At the end of the year, I'll be like, okay, it's too much tax, 30% slab, this, and all of that. And, I'm slowly learning, and that has also helped me a lot about tax saving and all of that.
Correct.
But for someone who just scripts and does not get knowledge,
Right.
what's your message to them? How is that they can, understand more about this? And what is that they have to know about their taxation?
Okay. See, if you just ask me, I mean, to be honest, like I'll need at least 3 hours to explain this, like what it is, why it's getting cut and everything. But in simple words, I'll tell you, once your income increases about 20 lakh rupees, you will end up paying lot of taxes. Okay, you can't do anything about it. No matter which regime you choose, the old tax regime or the new tax regime, you have to accept that. Look, if you're gonna like try to switch jobs, always increase it by 30% and then switch, like because that is how much will be going in taxes, right? So always have that clarity and accept the fact. Now people who are earning below 20 lakhs or even below 30 lakhs, right, they get lot of options to save taxes. Lot of ways are there, and it also depends on the kind of investments they have, expenses they have, lot of things it depends on. And home loan is one big way people are saving taxes with. That's why home loan is the cheapest loan in the country. Okay, because of the tax saving advantage one gets, and especially if they're going to take a joint home loan, that advantage is doubles. Okay, so overall joint home loan is amazing to take to save taxes as well. And if you have your dream of fulfilling your own home, that is really good if both husband and wife have stable income. And then with that you have lot of investment avenues that comes in. Okay, like there are a lot of sections like ATC, where you have all the investment that normally gets filled up. Beyond that you have your NPS, National Pension System, where you can invest. And then if you're having insurance and if you have elderly parents, you can even pay for them and still claim deductions over there and save. Majority of people don't know one thing that I want to tell. In fact, this is something I've even shared. I mean, it's exclusively normally for my tax masterclass people. But anyways, so many people don't know about allowances. Okay, in fact, that is one of the best ways to save taxes. Even if you take a laptop, right, you can save tax on it. Okay, but many don't know it. They have no idea because their companies wouldn't have briefed them properly, and they also wouldn't be aware of it. There are certain allowances like your internet bills, your telephone bills, let's say you're subscribed to magazines, right, those things. Or let's say you're even doing some, you're upgrading yourself and taking a course, even for that, your fuel, your car maintenance, these things, these kind of expenses that you're doing, you can save taxes on them. So basically companies will, what they do is from your income, they remove these expenses that you have. That means you end up paying lesser taxes overall. So those are allowances where you get to claim these expenses. Many don't know and don't use it, but I mean, you can.
So during this conversation, you just mentioned about the masterclass.
Yeah,
so in this, you cover all of this.
Yeah, I cover everything from reading a. So basically, I help them make their own payslip from CTC. I give a live example, and we have a lot of case studies. We take realistic case studies of people and explain how they can save taxes of different age groups. And then definitely about all the tax saving things. And we have made our own exclusive calculator, the old versus new tax regime calculator. So we help with that as well. So it's a 3-hour masterclass, but it's super fun.
How can someone learn more about your masterclass?
Yeah, it's actually in the link in my bio, or you can also go to joindime.in and it's over there as well.
Well, if you want to learn more about taxes, insurances, it's a completely, I would say it's a non-sponsored show. And any guest who sits next to me is someone, I just want their knowledge to come to you.
Right.
And if it applies to you and if it is beneficial and valuable to you, please go for it. I would have definitely put up Chandrelekha's link in the description. Please check her profile, and definitely if you feel that is something you really need right now, please go ahead and join the class.
Right.
Well, so I would call you CL.
Yeah, sure. My friends are used. I mean, I'm used to it.
Lovely. So CL, now, we're talking a lot about, money and things like that.
Yeah.
If I have to ask you, being someone who speaks money every single day, what's your long-term goal?
Long-term goal. I feel achieving financial freedom is my long-term goal. Now, what is the meaning? I feel I'm earning money today to buy time tomorrow. That is my only logic. So, where I'm going to use that time, that is I feel that is left to each one of them, but I feel I'm doing that at this point, earning more to get that extra time in life. If you ask me, my goal in terms of money is to definitely meet my retirement number or fire number, you call it. You can just check out any fire number calculator on Google and you can calculate what is your future goal.
What's fire number?
So it is basically your retirement savings goal number. Okay, financial independence, retire early, that's the full form of FIRE. So that will help. That number is what you want to achieve in the future. It may not be the most realistic because it depends on lot of factors, but that will give you a base idea.
ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಟೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಮಂತ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರ್ತಾ
ಹಾ ನಿಮಗೆ ಫೈನಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆ ನಂಬರ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಯೋರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್, my goal is just financial independence, but if you ask me on a larger scale, I feel I want to, have an identity of my own and build a business and also around money and wealth.
Wow, lovely. You're building a product around this?
Yes, we are building a content hub around it.
Okay.
So the intention is to help India decode money with a personal finance ecosystem, wherein 95% of the content is free, and we want to educate the masses.
Okay.
And we have been working on the website since the last 3 months.
Fantastic. I wish you all the very best. Because financial literacy is need of the hour, and it's very, very important. And I think that will change a lot of things for our country.
Very true.
And it has to reach masses.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, is it like we were talking about the taxes, and another important subject when it comes to money management is the insurances.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't understand the value of insurance and must have insurances.
Yeah.
And there's so much in the market available. It's like, sometimes we tend to like what to buy, what not to buy, what to have and what not to have. So if you have to just give a little brief about insurances, must have insurances, and something which you can ignore or say it's okay, it's not required.
Yes.
What?
There are only 2 insurances that a person would need for their lifetime. One is your health insurance for your health, and the second thing is your life insurance. Now, health insurance, why it is required is because of the kind of diseases the person is getting, and the probability of you getting something is very high at this moment. If you read the statistics, you'll know that the number of people who are getting stents has increased, heart diseases have increased, a lot of other diseases have increased in the world. So having a health insurance makes sense, because when you get that problem suddenly, right, when a health disaster happens in your family, you'll have lot of amount to spend on, right? These are very expensive. A small surgery, right, it costs around 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh. It can burden the family. So having a health insurance can help to get that amount as quick as possible. So paying for a pure health insurance is more than enough. How much money, how much of cover you want, that depends. It depends on if your company is already giving a cover. Let's say if your company is giving like 3-4 lakh rupees, then you might have to take extra cover of like 5-6 lakh rupees. Overall, I feel a 10 lakh cover would be good enough for a person. But even if it is less than that, it's okay. Like if you're a little younger, it's okay to have a lesser cover. But overall, this is good. And every member of the family should be having.
Every member.
Yeah, should have health insurance. The amount can differ based on the age you're in. That's okay. And the next.
So you just mentioned about company insurance and personal insurance. A lot of times what happens, somebody who's salaried, if they're getting insurance from the company already, they tend to ignore and say that it's okay, I don't have to have a personal insurance, health insurance. So what's your suggestion for them? And I've heard a lot of people saying that it's important for you to have a individual health insurance along with your company insurance.
Not always. So it depends on the position you're in. Okay. So normally in corporates, how it happens is, if you're below the managerial level position, then you're given very less insurance cover. Okay, maybe like 2.5-3 lakh and everything. If you're above managerial levels, many companies even give 8 lakh, 15 lakhs, 20, 30 give. MNCs give this. If you're in that level and you're giving so much insurance, you're given so much, then you don't need it. Covers your entire family, right? But if you're, let's say, getting like 3 to 5 lakh, then definitely you should consider getting external and independent
also
insurance.
once you leave the company, that
Yeah, you won't have
advantages
it.
goes off, and if you have your personal individual insurance,
Right,
that
it still sticks on.
keeps adding on to
Basic
your
thing is that period, right? In health insurance, you need a certain amount of period to pass in order to use the insurance. Okay, if you have taken it while you are in the company, so when you leave also, you will have that period already covered. But that time, if you take an health insurance and something happens in that remaining period, you will not be able to use even if you have taken anything. So that's why it's advised to take independent policy. But as I told, if you're in a job which is giving enough insurance, it's not necessarily required, but below managerial position, yes, it would be
fantastic.
required. And so even in life insurance, there's only one insurance you should be worried about, and that's a pure term insurance. And this is where I feel the biggest myth has to be broken. Because see, you need to understand what is an term insurance for. Okay, term insurance is not to insure yourself, it's to insure your family. Okay, it's taken in your name because when you're not there anymore, it's going to support them, right? Your family members. So first thing here to identify is that why you're taking it. Now, to support your family. That means what? You need good amount of corpus to be given to your family in case of an unfortunate event, right? This is clear. Now, what if I tell you that you can get 1 crore of insurance by just paying around 700 rupees every month? That's how much a Netflix subscription used to cost, right? Now they have reduced, I guess, 500, but it was 700 before. And the same amount you pay for an insurance, you get 1 crore cover. That means when you're not there, your family upfront gets 1 crore rupees, right? In an unfortunate event. And that is so cheap. Term insurance is the cheapest insurance that is available, but still people ignore it.
There's a myth, and there's why it is ignored is because aduddu hotog bidutte adenu vapas baralla ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು thought process, but that needs to be broken.
Right, who will give you 1 crore if you're spending 700 rupees every month, right? So yes, I feel people are thinking about, okay, 700 rupees into 12 months into, let's say, next 20-30 years. It would not even be about 10 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees, but you're getting a cover of, let's say, 1 crore rupees, right? You need to understand that even though you're not spending so much, what you're getting in return is high. Definitely if you have a higher cover, you will be spending and losing that money, but at what you're taking that precaution, you're taking that cushion. So you have to lose to get the cushion, or else you have to earn more and keep 1 crore and then you'll be fine. You don't have to spend.
So term insurance, health insurance is compulsory, and you definitely have to have it. So if in case, if you know, as being learned so much about finances, what are the must do investments that you would do?
See, I feel anybody should get into mutual funds as soon as possible. Okay, if you ask me what is the easiest way to get into mutual funds, you can go with index funds. So these funds invest based on an index. So everybody knows what Nifty is, Bank Nifty is, and these things. It directly invests it invests on that index, so it tracks the index and you get returns based on the index returns. Okay, that's the simplest way to start. Lot of options are there, but if you ask for a common man, it's definitely a mutual fund that they have to opt for.
Right. CL, when you speak about all these terms, in India there's a large chunk of people who don't know what is SIP, who don't understand what is mutual funds, apart from that TV ad which says mutual fund is subject to market risk. They know that, but they don't know what. They don't know what is mutual funds. There's a large chunk of people who don't know what is crypto, what is Bitcoin. They don't know what is equity, debt.
Correct.
And gold bonds, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಐಡಿಯಾನು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋಂತ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಚಂಕ್ ಇದಾರೆ, and they're among us. And I think, as per my knowledge, there's only very few percentage that, I don't know, you might be able to help me with the percentage, only that percentage understands this. And there's a large percentage which don't know what is SIP, and they have no idea about it, and they have not even doing it.
Correct.
Though they have a good income with them. So it is required, and it is essential for them to know about this. ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ, ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಹಂಗಂತೆ ಹಿಂಗಂತೆ ಮೋಸ ಆಗ್ತೀರಾ, ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟೋನ, even without knowing about it. I'm not, personally, I have not gone there. I don't know about crypto, I don't know about Bitcoin. So let's leave it aside. But when I don't know about it, I say I don't know about it. I would not say it's not good, it's not right, you will lose money. When I don't know about stock market, I would rather say that I don't know about it instead of saying adral ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಳ್ಕೋತೀರಾ. Right? So how is that one can start beginning their financial literacy journey? It's not for the youngsters. People of my mother's age don't know this.
Correct.
Where is that they begin?
Now you have to consume media at this point. I mean, that's I feel first way. Watch more videos, try to read more. And I mean, you can follow my page definitely. But I feel this is what at Dime also we're trying to solve. If you ask me where somebody should begin, it all begins with interest. Okay, like if you really want to do something with your money, you'll figure it out. You are putting 30 minutes of your time in finding out if Swiggy is cheaper or Zomato is cheaper, or if I should book Uber or Ola. You're spending so much time on that. Why can't you spend more time on understanding where to put your money in, right? It's just that interest. Okay, now if you ask me where you should, I mean how you should start, I would say first, whatever money you want to invest, take it out. Create a Demat account, right? It can be with any broker, Zerodha, Grow, Upstock, lot of brokers, ICICI, anybody, right? Any brokers you can create an account with. Whatever user interface you like, create an account with them and pick something that you have been educated about. Like for example, index funds. If let's say you only try it out, right? You have opened a Demat account, now you have money to invest. Put money over there. You will start getting habituated to that way of investing. Slowly, once you start, right, you'll start tracking it also, and that interest will develop. You'll be like, idandreno, adandreno. You'll only start searching. But if you ask me one-stop place, there is nothing like a one-stop place that is available. It's all, everything is spread out. But do follow me.
Right, that's really good. So I'm someone who earned from a very early age. Right from 16 I have been salaried. That's and I don't remember a day where I didn't have an income right from 16.
Amazing.
So it's been stable. I've been working, I've been busy, except for the 2 years after marriage I took a break. I've been professionally busy since then. But the point is, at one point of a time when I was 18 and 19, my monthly salary was almost up to 3 lakhs.
Okay, that's crazy.
So when I was 18, that 3 lakhs amount, but ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಥಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತಾನೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. I didn't know anything about it, but today I have an SIP, I have all that planned, I know my financial goals, I know what I want for the next 2 years, I know what I want for 5 years. And what I want for my 10 years and what is my retirement corpus that I really need. And this did not take a long time. This took almost like maybe from the last 2.5 years I'm following this. Thanks to the finance influencers, you guys play a very huge role in people getting interest about it and also kind of knowing it. And today I have an SIP for my daughter as well, who is 7-year-old. She has an account. She has an SIP. She has Sukanya Samruddhi, post office account. All of these things, it is there. And I know exactly how to help her and how to educate her in these things.
Right.
So what is your advice, like parents having an account and SIP and educating kids from the early age?
Very important. I feel you have set the right example here. That's truly very important, because first of all, as parents, once you figure out where you want to put that money in, do that parallelly for your kids as well. Because if you have a girl child, I guess you have a girl child, that's why you chose to invest in Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana. And I feel that's the best investment in terms of fixed interest.
It's kind of a safest place.
Safest place, and interest is also quite high than an normal FD. So that is good. Yes, many people don't know that they can open mutual funds even if the kids are minors, right? You can do that. And I feel parents should be doing it. Now, the problem is, as I told the stats in the beginning also, like only 3.2% of Indians invest in stock market. That means the rest don't have Demat accounts, right? That's the meaning. So, I mean, if you first create a Demat account for yourself, I feel it should be like a PAN card, right? If PAN card is made available to everybody, even DMAT account you should have that, right? And when you get habituated, definitely you have to invest in the name of your kids, into various sources. Like you said, you're doing an SIP for your maybe your kids' education, and you're investing in fixed income instrument as well. There are various alternatives, but if you ask me, simple things are there. In mutual funds itself, you have arbitrage funds, you have equity funds, you have debt funds where you can already diversify, and you also have government related schemes like this where you invest. So spreading out the money in the name of your child will make sense, but nothing too much or nothing too little. Right.
Okay, gold versus gold bonds.
Okay.
Curious to know about it because it's a subject which
Correct.
I don't know much about. So, what's your thought on this?
Physical gold is for fun and is for enjoyment, and gold bonds is for making money and investment. Because I feel in India, I don't know where this has come from, but wives maybe tell their husbands that let's take gold as an investment. They know that they want to wear it, that's it, but it's a reason given to the husband, I feel. But overall, I feel if you're taking physical gold, you won't make money out of it. You just have it for your own enjoyment, own pleasure. Stick it to that purpose. If you want to actually make use of returns a gold is getting, best is sovereign gold bond. What RBI has brought out is the best in the industry because it gives you 2.5% more returns over and above your actual returns. Okay, that is the most important thing. You get 2.5%
How
as
do
interest.
you invest in this?
You can invest through RBI Retail directly as well. So RBI has their own website to invest in gold bonds. You can use that as well. Or you can use your broker accounts. You can even go to banks and invest as well. So everywhere you have option to invest here.
Absolutely. But if I'm able to wear something as beautiful as this, like
Yeah.
CKC has designed, probably I would think of this, okay, if I'm getting 2.5% lesser, I would still prefer going.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to sell this because
No, not 2.5, but yeah, 30 to 40% less in returns. But as I told, the return that gives is a different type of
It's an
return.
emotional
return. So you can't
in
equate
India,
it.
gold and house,
Yeah.
all of these are like, it is come with us
Correct.
from, like a long time and we just want it. It's more like a part of our life.
Yeah.
Like we just enjoy having this. Yes, it's a fun part actually.
Right. If you see the stats, like households have a lot of gold compared to what RBI has. So even if you see the entire country's housewives' gold is more than what the nation
Absolutely.
has. Yeah.
So is there anything that, because I feel that this subject, especially when it comes to finance,
Yeah.
ಎಷ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ, it's more like a ocean. Like you are going deeper into it and once ಸತಿ ಈ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಸೋ ಎಂಥೂಸಿಯಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಮೇ ಬಿ ಐ ವಿಶ್ ಐ ನ್ಯೂ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್. ಈ ಥಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ diving deep into it and you become a big advocate for it, like do this, do that, and you start
You
telling
tell your
everybody.
friends, relatives.
For me it's now like my entire team has to do investment planning.
Yeah.
They have to sit, it's more like I influence everybody because I know the advantage and I know the kind of returns I'm being able to make.
Right.
And I know the mistakes that I have done.
Correct.
Which I start early is one message that I want to give to everybody.
100%. Starting early makes a huge difference because you would have missed that returns in the past, which could have grown and compounded and everything. So starting early is 100% important because you have already seen it, right? If you haven't started early, maybe you have lost 10, 20, 30 lakhs of passive income or maybe even more than that.
Absolutely.
And that's passive. So you're not even doing any activity. There are businesses putting their sweat and blood into it. You're getting returns out of it. There are, mutual fund managers putting blood and sweat into managing your funds. You're earning from it. When it is so passive, why not utilize it?
So plan your retirement before even you start working.
Plan your retirement before even you start working. I feel they won't know the value of that before they start working and making money.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you start early planning, I feel things get clearer
I
once
think
you.
a lot of parents are now educated about it, and if they have started their journey, probably
Kids,
they will
yes.
insist their kids to start
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
early, probably during the school days itself,
16,
and they'll start
17s,
telling
yeah.
their kids to do it,
Right.
and educate them.
Correct.
That also
Even
becomes.
if parents are giving pocket money to the kids, right? Instead of giving 100% of the pocket money, you only take maybe 20-30%, put it somewhere else, and then give the rest to the child.
Right.
So that is also one way, and you can teach the child, look, this will grow for you,
Absolutely.
and you don't have to grow it. Somebody else is growing it.
Fantastic. So we spoke a lot about finance, investments,
Right.
insurance, a lot
Yeah.
of things. Is there something you want to tell more about this subject?
I feel these are necessities to live a life. That's it. More than this is based on how much you earn more than this, right? There are so many alternatives where you can put your money in and grow it. Like I told you, can start your own business, or you can invest in other companies privately, right, and make money. And above this, there won't be anything else. What else can you do with money?
And idralli
spend
core
it.
subjects and sub-subjects ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಇದೆ, so that you
Yes,
can go deep
complexities
into
are
it
a lot.
and identify a lot of things. And
Yeah.
again, like CL said, it's
Yeah.
all like it completely depends on your individual personal goals,
Right.
and this is a huge subject. The more
Huge
you deep
subject,
dive,
yeah.
the
The
deeper
more you get
go,
to
right? And there's a lot more to talk to her apart from finance. I want to talk to her about the content creation journey, but it's in the second part, so stay tuned for the second part. So thank you so much for sharing this, but I'm going to meet you in the second part of it and telling you the journey of content creation. So see you there.